Dr. Alex Rodriguez had always been drawn to mysteries. As a young boy, he would spend hours digging in his backyard hoping to find ancient treasures. Now at 34, he was living his dream as one of the world's leading experts in ancient civilizations. His specialty was finding connections between old cultures and unexplained technology. The morning sun cast long shadows across the Rocky Mountains of Peru as Alex and his small team set up their equipment. They had been working at this remote site for 3 weeks, and every day brought new surprises. The ruins they were studying didn't match anything in the history books. The stone blocks were cut with impossible precision, and strange symbols were carved deep into the walls. "Dr. Rodriguez, you need to see this," called out his assistant, Tom. The young graduate student was standing near what looked like a simple stone wall, but his electronic scanner was going crazy. The device was beeping rapidly, and the screen showed energy readings that shouldn't exist in a place this old. Alex walked over and took the scanner. The readings were off the charts. "This is impossible," he whispered. "These energy levels, stronger than anything we've recorded." The team had been finding similar energy sources all around the site. It was as if the ancient stones were somehow powered by an unknown source. Local legends spoke of gods who lived beneath the mountains, but Alex had always believed in science, not stories. As evening approached, the team decided to call it a day. But Alex couldn't sleep. The energy readings kept him awake, and he found himself drawn back to the site. He told himself he would just take a quick look, maybe run a few more tests while it was quiet. The ruins looked different in the moonlight. The strange symbols on the walls seemed to glow with a faint blue light. Alex had noticed this before, but had convinced himself it was just tricks of the light. Tonight, though, the glow was unmistakable. He followed the glowing symbols deeper into the ruins than he had ever gone before. The path led him to a chamber that his team hadn't fully explored yet. The walls here were covered in symbols that pulsed with that same blue light, creating patterns that seemed to move and shift. Alex pulled out his equipment and began taking readings. The energy here was incredible. The scanner was showing levels that should have been dangerous, but he felt fine. In fact, he felt strangely energized, as if the mysterious power was calling to him. That's when he noticed the gap in the floor. It was narrow, almost hidden behind a fallen stone. The blue light seemed to be coming from somewhere below. Alex knew he should wait for his team, but his curiosity was too strong. He squeezed through the opening and found himself in a tunnel that sloped downward into darkness. The tunnel was smooth, too smooth to be natural. It felt more like it had been carved by some advanced tool. The blue glow was stronger here, and Alex could feel a slight vibration in the air, like a deep hum that he felt more than heard. He walked carefully, using his flashlight to check each step. The tunnel seemed to go on forever, winding deeper and deeper into the mountain. Just when he was thinking about turning back, he saw a light ahead. Not his flashlight, but a soft, welcoming glow. Alex emerged into a vast underground chamber that took his breath away. The ceiling stretched up into darkness, and the walls were covered in technology that clearly wasn't from any ancient civilization he knew. Panels of light moved in patterns across the surfaces, and strange devices hummed with power. But it wasn't the technology that made Alex freeze in place. Was the being standing in the center of the chamber? They were tall, maybe 7 feet, with skin that seemed to shift between solid and translucent. Their faces were human-like but longer, with large eyes that held depths he couldn't understand. When they moved, it was with a grace that seemed to defy gravity. Alex's mind raced as he tried to process what he was seeing. These weren't humans. They weren't like anything he had ever imagined. But they were clearly intelligent, clearly advanced, and they were looking directly at him. Of the being stepped forward, Alex couldn't tell if it was male or female, but something about its posture suggested authority. When it spoke, the words appeared in Alex's mind rather than in his ears. "You have entered the sacred space," the voice said in his thoughts. "You have seen what was meant to remain hidden." Alex tried to speak, but his voice came out as barely a whisper. "Who are you?" "We are the Veltar," the being replied. We have dwelt beneath your world for countless cycles, protecting secrets that your kind is not ready to understand. More beings began to appear from the shadows around the chamber. Alex realized he was surrounded. Fear crept up his spine, but he also felt a strange sense of wonder. This was the discovery of a lifetime, the proof that humanity was not alone in the universe. The leader continued speaking in Alex's mind. Our laws are clear. No surface dweller may witness our sanctuary and return to tell others. The balance between worlds must be maintained. Alex's scientific mind kicked in, even through his fear. Balance between worlds? You mean there are others like you? Many others, the being replied. And many threats that your people cannot imagine. We have remained hidden to protect both our kinds. The beings began to move closer, and Alex realized that their graceful movements weren't just elegant. They were also surrounding him in a way that made escape impossible. The leader raised what appeared to be a device, and Alex felt a strange tingling sensation. Wait, Alex said, his voice stronger now. I'm a scientist. I study ancient civilizations. I've dedicated my life to understanding cultures like yours. The leader paused. You seek knowledge of the past? Yes, Alex replied quickly. I've spent years studying sites like this one. The energy readings, the impossible construction techniques. I knew there had to be an explanation. For a moment, the beings seemed to communicate among themselves without words. Alex could sense their conversation happening on a level he couldn't access, like whispers in another dimension. The leader spoke again. Your curiosity has led you to truths that bring danger. Our high priest Zephin has decreed that any who discover our sanctuary must join with the cosmic weaver to maintain the balance. Alex didn't understand what that meant, but the serious tone made it clear it wasn't good. Join with the cosmic weaver? A ritual of offering, the leader explained. Your life force will become part of the greater pattern that protects all worlds. Alex felt his knees go weak. They were talking about his death. But even as fear overwhelmed him, his scientific mind was still working. These beings had technology beyond anything on Earth. They had knowledge that could change everything humanity understood about the universe. Please, Alex said. I can help you. I can be the bridge between your people and mine. Humanity isn't ready for this knowledge, but maybe I can help prepare them. The leader studied him with those deep, ancient eyes. You speak of bridges, but you do not understand the weight of such responsibility. The secrets we guard could destroy your world if misused. As the beings began to bind Alex with restraints that felt like solid light, he realized that his life as a simple archaeologist was over. Whatever happened next, he would never be the same person who had entered these ruins just hours ago. The last thing he saw before everything went dark was the leader looking at him with what might have been sadness. In his mind, he heard the final words. The ritual will begin when the oracle approves. Till then, you will wait and learn what it means to stand between worlds. Alex's world faded to black, but his mind was filled with questions. Who was this oracle? What did they mean by standing between worlds? Most importantly, was there any way he could survive what was coming? Deep in the ancient chamber, surrounded by technology and beings from beyond the stars, Alex realized that his greatest discovery might also be his last. Alex woke up in a cell that wasn't really a cell. The walls were made of the same smooth stone as the tunnels, but they glowed with a soft light that seemed to come from within. There were no bars, no locks that he could see, but when he tried to touch the walls, his hand passed through a barrier that felt like thick water. He had no idea how long he had been unconscious. His watch had stopped working, and there were no windows to show him if it was day or night. The only sound was that same deep humming he had heard in the tunnels, like the heartbeat of the mountain itself. Alex's mind was still trying to process everything that had happened. Aliens. Real aliens. Living under the earth for who knows how long, and they wanted to use him in some kind of ritual. The scientist in him was fascinated, but the human in him was terrified. He was still sitting there, trying to make sense of it all, when the wall in front of him began to change. The stone became transparent, and he could see into the vast chamber beyond. The Veltar were moving around, preparing something. Alex could see what looked like an altar in the center of the room, covered in symbols that pulsed with that familiar blue light. They're getting ready, Alex whispered to himself. Getting ready for whatever they're going to do to me. Wait. That's when he heard footsteps. Not the quiet, graceful movement of the Veltar, but something different, heavier, more deliberate. Alex looked up to see a figure approaching his cell, but this one was unlike any of the others he had seen. The being was taller than the others, but that wasn't what made Alex stare. This one seemed to shift between solid and something else, like she was made of light and shadow at the same time. Our eyes weren't just deep, they looked like they contained entire galaxies, swirling with stars and cosmic dust. You are the surface dweller, the being said, and her voice was different too. Didn't just appear in his mind like the others. It seemed to come from everywhere at once, echoing through dimensions Alex couldn't understand. I'm Alex Rodriguez, he said, surprised that his voice came out steady. I'm an archaeologist. I study ancient civilizations. The being moved closer, and Alex could see that she was ancient in a way that went beyond years. She carried herself like someone who had seen the birth and death of stars, who had witnessed the rise and fall of entire worlds. I am called Lyrilleth, she said. I am the Oracle of the Veltar, keeper of visions and guardian of the future paths. Alex had heard them mention an oracle before. You're the one who decides if the ritual happens. I am the one who sees what others cannot, Lyrilleth replied, and I've seen something in you that my people do not yet understand. The oracle raised her hand, and Alex felt the barrier around his cell dissolve. He was free, but somehow he knew that running would be pointless. There was nowhere to go in this underground world. Come, Lyrilleth said. We must speak of things that concern not just your life, but the fate of many worlds. Alex followed her through corridors he hadn't seen before. The walls here were covered in moving images, scenes of space, of planets, of civilizations rising and falling. It was like walking through a living history book. They entered a circular chamber where the floor was made of what looked like black glass. Stars reflected in its surface. But Alex realized they weren't reflections. They were real stars, somehow captured and displayed beneath their feet. Sit, Lyrilleth instructed, and Alex found himself on a cushion that formed itself from the floor. The oracle sat across from him, her galaxy eyes studying his face. Your people call you Dr. Rodriguez, she said. But names are surface things. I must see what lies beneath. Before Alex could ask what she meant, Lyrilleth reached out and placed her hand on his forehead. The moment her fingers touched his skin, Alex's world exploded into visions. Earth from space, but it wasn't the Earth he knew. This Earth was under attack. Dark shapes moved through the sky, and entire cities were disappearing into holes that opened in the air itself. People were running, screaming, but there was nowhere to hide. The Devourers, Lyrilleth's voice whispered through the vision. Ain't. Come from the spaces between worlds, consuming everything in their path. The vision shifted, and Alex saw other planets, other civilizations facing the same fate. Beautiful worlds turned to ash and emptiness. Entire species wiped out in moments. This is what destroyed our original home, Lyrilleth continued. This is why we came to your world, not as conquerors, but as guardians. Alex saw the Veltar's history unfold before him, their advanced civilization, their desperate escape from the Devourers, their arrival on Earth thousands of years ago. They had hidden themselves underground, building a network of defenses to protect their new home. But the defenses require something we do not have, Lyrilleth said. They require a bridge between our peoples, someone who can connect Veltar. Technology with human understanding. The vision changed again, and Alex saw himself but different. He was standing in the same chamber where he had first encountered the Veltar. But now he was communicating with them as easily as he would with any human. Technology responded to his touch, and he could feel the defensive network awakening. Around the world. I don't understand, Alex said, though he was still lost in the vision. Why me? I'm just an archaeologist. You are more than you know, Lyrilleth replied. Your genetic pattern carries markers that appear in perhaps one human. In 10 million, if you can interface with our technology in ways that others cannot. Alex saw himself activating ancient machines, coordinating defenses across the globe, working with both humans and Veltar to prepare for the coming threat. But he also saw the price. He would no longer be fully human. The process would change him in ways that couldn't be undone. But there is something else, Lireleth continued, and her voice grew softer.
There's something that matters more than genetics or technology.
I see your heart, Alex Rodriguez. I see that you would give your life not just for your own people, but for all life. The vision shifted once more, and Alex saw himself making choice after choice, always putting others first. He saw moments from his own life, times when he had helped colleagues, protected historical sites, chosen difficult paths because they were right rather than easy. This is why the Cosmic Weaver has brought you here, Lireleth said. Not to die, but to become something greater. The visions faded, and Alex found himself back in the chamber, gasping. The Oracle was still watching him with those ancient eyes. I saw Earth being destroyed, Alex said, his voice shaking. I saw entire civilizations disappearing. What you saw are possible futures, Lireleth replied. The Devourers are stirring. The barriers between dimensions grow weak. Soon, they will break through. Alex's mind was racing. But you said I could help stop them? That I could be a bridge, you could, Lireleth agreed. But the choice must be yours. The transformation required would mean giving up your human life as you know it. You would become something new, something that has never existed before. What about my team, my work, my life on the surface? All of that would end, Lireleth said simply. But from that ending, something greater would begin. You would become the first of a new kind of being, one capable of protecting both our peoples. Alex sat in silence, trying to process everything he had learned. The fate of Earth, maybe the fate of the entire universe, was somehow connected to him. But the cost would be everything he had ever known. There's something else you should know, Lireleth continued. High Priest Zephin, who ordered your capture, is not convinced that you are worthy of this destiny. He believes the old ways are best, that humans and Veltar should remain separate. So he still wants the ritual to proceed. He wants to test you first, Lireleth explained. There is an ancient trial, a journey through the collective memory of our people. If you survive it and prove your worth, he will accept my vision. If you fail, I die, Alex finished. Lireleth said sadly. But I have seen your spirit, Alex Rodriguez. I believe you have the strength to succeed where others might fail. Alex looked down at the stars moving beneath his feet, each one representing a world that might be counting on him. The responsibility was overwhelming, but he knew he couldn't turn away. When does the trial begin? He asked. Lireleth smiled. For the first time, and it was like watching a sunrise. It begins when you are ready to face not just our history, but your own destiny. Alex took a deep breath and looked up at the Oracle. Then I'm ready now. The chamber around them began to change, preparing for a trial that would determine not just Alex's fate, but the future of two worlds. Alex found himself standing in a chamber he had never seen before. The walls were made of what looked like crystal, but they pulsed with life, as if they were breathing. The floor beneath his feet was smooth and warm, and he could feel energy flowing through it like blood through veins. This is the nexus of consciousness, Lireleth explained, her voice echoing strangely in the crystal space. Here you will experience what it means to be Veltar. You will see through our eyes, feel through our hearts, and understand the weight of the knowledge we carry. Alex looked around nervously. What exactly am I supposed to do? Simply survive? Came a new voice. Alex turned to see High Priest Zephin entering the chamber. The alien leader moved with authority, but Alex could sense doubt in his manner. The trial will test everything you are. Your mind, your spirit, your very soul will be examined. And if I fail, then you will join the Cosmic Weaver as originally planned, Zephin replied coldly. But if you succeed, I will accept the Oracle's vision and support your transformation. The entire chamber began to glow brighter. The trial begins. Now, remember, Alex Rodriguez? You are not just fighting for your own life. You are fighting for the future of both our peoples. Before Alex could respond, the world around him dissolved. Suddenly, he was floating in the emptiness of space, but he wasn't alone. He could sense millions of minds around him, all connected, all sharing the same desperate hope. He was experiencing the collective memory of the Veltar, and the first memory was their greatest tragedy. Alex felt himself become part of a beautiful world with crystal cities that reached toward purple skies. He could feel the joy of a peaceful civilization, beings who had spent thousands of years perfecting their harmony with nature and technology. But then, the sky began to tear apart. The Devourers came like living nightmares. They weren't just destroying the Veltar world. They were consuming it, turning everything into empty void. Alex felt the terror of an entire species as they realized their home was being eaten by creatures from beyond reality. No, Alex screamed, but his voice was lost in the collective panic of millions. He experienced the pain of watching cities disappear, of feeling friends and family vanish into nothingness. The agony was overwhelming, and he wanted to pull away, to escape back to his own mind. But something inside him refused to give up. Instead of running from the pain, Alex embraced it. He felt the Veltar's loss as if it were his own, understanding. For the first time, what it meant to lose everything you've ever loved. The scene shifted, and Alex was with the survivors as they built their escape ships. He felt their desperation, their hope, their determination to preserve their people and their knowledge. The journey to Earth took generations, and Alex experienced every moment of it, the loneliness, the fear, the gradual loss of hope. "Why are you showing me this?" Alex asked, though he wasn't sure if he was speaking to Lyrillith or to the collective. "Memory itself. Because you must understand what we have lost," came the reply from everywhere and nowhere. "Before you can help us protect what remains, you must feel the weight of our responsibility." The trial continued. Alex found himself living through the Veltar's early days on Earth. He experienced their first contact with primitive humans, their decision to remain hidden, their slow work of building the defensive network that would, one day, protect the planet. But the hardest part was yet to come. The trial shifted to focus on individual Veltar, and Alex experienced their personal struggles. He felt the loneliness of beings who could never truly connect with the surface world, the sadness of watching human civilization grow while they remained in the shadows. One memory particularly affected him. He experienced the life of a young Veltar named Cathara, who had wanted to make contact with humans. She had watched a human village for years, learning their language, understanding their customs. When plague struck the village, she had desperately wanted to help, but the laws of her people forbade it. Alex felt Kithra's anguish as she watched the humans suffer and die, knowing she had the knowledge to save them but being unable to act. The memory was so painful that Alex cried out, feeling as if his heart was being torn apart. "This is the burden we carry," the collective voice explained. "We have the power to help, but helping might expose us and put both our peoples at risk." The trial grew more intense. Alex was forced to experience the Veltar's deepest fears, their terror that they might be discovered, their worry that the Devourers might find Earth, Their constant struggle to maintain the balance between protection and secrecy. But then something unexpected happened. The trial began to probe Alex's own memories, pulling up moments from his life that he had almost forgotten. He relived his childhood fascination with archaeology, his first discovery of ancient artifacts, his dedication to understanding lost civilizations. The trial examined his character through his actions. It showed him moments when he had chosen to help others, even when it cost him personally. Times when he had protected historical sites from destruction, when he had stood up for colleagues, when he had chosen truth over personal gain. Interesting, Zefin's voice echoed through the memory space. The human shows qualities that even some of our own people lack. The trial reached its climax when Alex was presented with an impossible choice. He found himself in a recreation of the Veltar's most sacred vault, where they kept the location of a weapon that could destroy the Devourers, but using it would also wipe out entire solar systems. You have learned our deepest secret, the trial voice announced. This weapon could save countless worlds, but it could also destroy them. If you reveal its location, you will be allowed to live, but the knowledge might be misused. If you protect the secret, you will face certain death. Alex looked at the information before him. The weapon was real, and it was powerful enough to stop the Devourers permanently. But he could also see the terrible cost. Using it would mean accepting the destruction of innocent worlds to save others. I won't tell anyone, Alex said firmly. This knowledge is too dangerous. If there's another way to stop the Devourers, we have to find it. The trial space began to shift around him, even knowing that your silence means death. Even then, Alex replied, some secrets are worth dying for. What happened next surprised everyone, including Alex himself. Instead of ending the trial, the memories began to change. New visions appeared. Visions of a future where Alex worked alongside the Veltar, where humans and aliens cooperated to find a better solution. The collective consciousness was showing him possibilities he hadn't imagined. Ways to fight the Devourers without using the terrible weapon. Strategies that combine human creativity with Veltar technology. Hope where there had been only despair. You see something we have not? Lirala's voice said softly. You see possibilities that our ancient minds cannot imagine? Alex realized what was happening. The trial wasn't just testing him, it was learning from him. His human perspective was showing the Veltar new ways to think about their problems. Humans are good at finding alternatives, Alex said. Still, lost in the visions? We're stubborn. We don't like to accept that there's only one solution to anything. The trial began to wind down, and Alex felt himself being pulled back to his own consciousness. But he wasn't the same person who had entered the crystal chamber. The experience had changed him in ways he was only beginning to understand. Could feel the Veltar's collective memory still accessible at the edge of his mind. Their knowledge, their pain, their hopes, all of it was part of him now. And somehow, his human experiences had become part of their collective memory too. When Alex finally opened his eyes, he was back in the crystal chamber. Liralith and Zefin were both watching him with expressions he couldn't quite read. "Is done?" Zefin announced, but his voice had changed. Coldness was gone, replaced by something that might have been respect. The human has passed the trial. Alex tried to stand, but found his legs shaky. "I feel... different." "You are different," Liralith explained. "The trial has awakened the dormant connections in your genetic code. You can now interface with our technology, communicate with our people, and access our collective knowledge. But more importantly," Zefin added, "you have shown us that there might be other paths than the ones we have always followed. Your human perspective has given us new hope." Alex looked at his hands and was startled to see that they were glowing faintly with the same blue light that powered the Veltar technology. He could feel the energy flowing through him, connecting him to the vast network that protected the planet. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now," Lirala said with a smile, "you learn what it truly means to stand between worlds." The trial was over, but Alex knew that his real journey was just beginning. Alex woke up in a room that felt different from anywhere he had been before. The walls were still made of that smooth stone, but now they responded to his presence. When he moved his hand near them, patterns of light followed his movements. Could feel the technology around him like a living thing, and somehow he understood how it worked. "The changes are permanent," Lyrilleth said, appearing in the doorway. "You are no longer fully human, but you are not Veltar either. You are something new." Alex looked at his reflection in the polished stone wall. He still looked like himself, but there was something different in his eyes. They held depths that hadn't been there before, and when he concentrated, he could see energy patterns flowing through everything around him. "I can feel them," Alex said, surprised by his own words. "All of them. Every Veltar in this sanctuary. Their thoughts, their emotions. It's like they're all connected to me somehow." "And you to them," Lyrilleth replied. "Come, the Council of Elders wishes to speak with you. It is time you learn the complete truth about why you are here." They walked through corridors that Alex now saw with new eyes. The walls weren't just decorated with patterns, they were covered in information. Technical specifications, historical records, maps of star systems, his enhanced mind could read. It all as easily as if it were written in English. The council chamber was vast, with seats arranged in a circle around a central platform. As Alex entered, he saw dozens of Veltar elders, each one ancient beyond human comprehension. Their combined wisdom pressed against his mind like a gentle tide. High Priest Zephin stood at the center, but he looked different now. The cold authority was still there, but Alex could sense something else. Respect, and perhaps even hope. "And Octo Rodriguez," Zephin began, "you have proven yourself worthy of our trust. Now you must learn why that trust is so important." The chamber darkened, and holographic images appeared above them. Alex saw star charts, dimensional maps, something that made his blood run cold. Readings that showed reality itself was breaking down. "The barriers between dimensions are weakening," Zephin explained. "The Devourers are not just creatures from another world.
Yes.
They exist in the spaces between realities, feeding on the life force of entire universes." Alex watched as the hologram showed how the Devourers moved through dimensions, consuming everything in their path. They weren't just destroying planets, they were unmaking entire sections of reality. "For millions of years, natural barriers kept them contained," Lyrilleth continued. "But something has changed. Barriers are cracking, and soon they will break completely." "How soon?" Alex asked, though he was afraid of the answer. "Perhaps months," Zephin replied. "Maybe less." The implications hit Alex like a physical blow. "That's why you need the defensive network. That's why you've been building it all these years." "Yes," Zephin confirmed. "Every ancient site your people call mysterious, every place where energy readings don't make sense, they are all part of a massive shield that surrounds your planet." The hologram changed to show Earth, but now Alex could see the truth. Lines of energy connected archaeological sites all over the world, forming a complex pattern that covered the entire planet. The ruins in Peru where he had been working were just one small part of an enormous global defense system. "But the network has been dormant for centuries," Lyrilleth explained. "It requires activation by someone who can bridge the gap between our technology and human understanding." "That's where I come in," Alex said, understanding flooding through him. "Exactly," Zephin replied. "Your genetic markers allow you to interface with our technology, but your human perspective gives you insights we lack. You can see patterns we cannot, find solutions we would never consider." Alex studied the global network, and his enhanced mind began to see possibilities. The network isn't just defensive. It could be used to communicate with other worlds, to coordinate with survivors from other civilizations. The elders exchanged glances. "What do you mean?" one of them asked. "The Devourers have attacked other worlds, right? There must be survivors, other civilizations that have managed to escape or hide, and we can modify the network to reach them." "We could form an alliance," Lyrilleth finished, her voice filled with excitement. "Multiple worlds working together instead of each fighting alone." "The human sees what we could not," Zephin said, and Alex could hear wonder in his voice. "We have been thinking like prey, hiding, and defending. But perhaps it is time to think like hunters." The chamber filled with excited discussion as the elders considered the implications. Alex found that he could follow multiple conversations at once, his enhanced mind processing information at speeds that would have been impossible before. "There's something else," Alex said, and the room fell silent. The network could be used to create safe zones, places where refugees from other worlds could hide while we build our alliance. Earth is a sanctuary world, one elder whispered. It has been done before, but never on such a scale. But the risks, another elder protested. If we fail, if the Devourers break through our defenses, ... then we die fighting instead of hiding. Alex replied. And maybe our sacrifice gives other worlds the time they need to find their own solutions. Sefin stood silent for a long moment, considering. Finally, he spoke. The human is right. We have spent too long thinking only of survival. It is time to think of victory. The decision was made, but Alex knew it came with a terrible cost. What about me? Happens to my life on the surface? Lyrilleth approached him, her galaxy. Eyes filled with sadness. The transformation required to activate the network will change you completely. You will become a living bridge between worlds, able to coordinate defenses across the entire planet. But you will no longer be able to live a normal human life. Alex thought about his team, probably still searching for him. His research, his career, his dreams of making archaeological discoveries. All of that would be gone. It's more. Zephin added, the process is permanent. Once you become the bridge, you cannot return to what you were. And if I refuse, then we continue as we have, Lyrilleth replied. Hiding, defending, hoping the barriers hold for a few more years. Eventually, the Devourers will break through, and both our peoples will face extinction. Alex looked around the chamber at the faces of beings who had already sacrificed everything to protect their adopted world. They had given up their original home, their open existence, their freedom to help other worlds. Now they were asking him to make a similar sacrifice. I need to go back to the surface, Alex said finally. I need to see my world one more time, and I need to warn my people about what's coming. That is... difficult, Zephon said. Your colleagues believe you are dead. Your disappearance has been investigated by your government. Returning now would raise questions we cannot answer. Then I'll have to be careful, Alex replied. I can't make this decision without seeing what I'm giving up. The elders discussed among themselves in their silent way. Finally, Lyrilleth spoke. We will allow it. But you must understand, once you return to the surface, you will feel the full weight of your choice. The bond between you and the network will pull at you constantly. You will not be able to ignore your destiny for long. How long do I have? Days, perhaps a week, Zephin replied. The dimensional barriers weaken daily. Soon, we will have no choice but to activate the network. With or without you. Alex nodded, understanding the urgency. Then, I better make the most of the time I have. As the council session ended, Alex found himself alone with Lyrilleth. Oracle studied him with those ancient eyes, and he could sense her concern. Are afraid, she said softly. Terrified, Alex admitted. I'm about to give up everything I've ever known, everything I've ever been, and yet you will do it anyway. Yes, Alex replied without hesitation, because it's the right thing too. Lyrilleth smiled, and for a moment, she looked almost human. That is why the Cosmic Weaver chose you, Alex Rodriguez. Not for your genetics or your knowledge, but for your heart. As Alex prepared to return to the surface world, he knew that his life would never be the same. The boy who had dreamed of discovering ancient treasures was about to become something far more important and far more dangerous. The fate of 2 worlds rested in his hands, and time was running out. Alex emerged from the hidden tunnel entrance in the pre-dawn darkness 3 weeks after he had first disappeared. The familiar mountain air felt different now. He could sense energy patterns in the wind, feel the pulse of the defensive network beneath his feet. The world looked the same, but his eyes now saw so much more. The archaeological site was abandoned. Yellow tape surrounded the area, and government vehicles were parked nearby. Alex could see that his disappearance had caused quite a stir. Through his enhanced senses, he detected security cameras and motion sensors that hadn't been there before. Moving carefully, Alex made his way toward the base camp. He needed to contact his team, but he had to be smart about it. The new abilities flowing through him made it easy to avoid the security equipment. But he knew that simply appearing after 3 weeks would raise too many questions. His assistant Tom was still there, working late in the equipment tent.
Alex?
Watched him for a moment, remembering what it felt like to be fully human. Tom looked tired, older somehow, and Alex realized that his disappearance had taken a toll on everyone. Tom spun around, nearly dropping his tablet. "Dr. Rodriguez, is that really you?" "It's me, Alex," said, stepping into the light. "I know you have questions, but I need you to listen carefully." Tom's eyes were wide with shock. "Everyone thought you were dead. We searched everywhere. The government brought in teams, dogs, helicopters. Where have you been?" Alex looked at his young assistant, knowing that what he was about to say would sound impossible. "I found something, Tom. Something that changes everything we thought we knew about this site." "What kind of something?" "The ruins aren't just ancient buildings," Alex explained. "They're part of a global defense system. And there are others living beneath the mountains. Others who have been protecting our world for thousands of years." Tom stared at him as if he had lost his mind. "Dr. Rodriguez, you've been missing for 3 weeks. Maybe you hit your head. Or, watch this," Alex interrupted. He walked over to one of the stone blocks they had been studying and placed his hand on it. The ancient symbols immediately began to glow with that familiar blue light, pulsing in patterns that seemed to respond to his touch. Tom stumbled backward, his scientific mind struggling to process what he was seeing. "That's impossible. The energy readings, they're off the charts." "The impossible is about to become very real," Alex said sadly. "Tom, I need you to contact Dr. Chen at the university. Tell her to gather the team that worked on the energy anomalies last year. We need to start identifying other sites around the world. Other sites, places with similar energy signatures. Ancient ruins that don't fit normal historical patterns. We're going to need to coordinate with archaeological teams globally." Tom was still staring at the glowing symbols. "Dr. Rodriguez, what happened to you down there?" Alex felt the weight of his secret, the burden of knowledge that he couldn't fully share. "I learned that our world is in danger, and I'm the only one who can help stop it." Over the next few days, Alex worked carefully to reconnect with his colleagues. He reached out to Dr. Chen at the university, Dr. Williams, who had studied similar energy patterns in Egypt, Professor Kim, who had found unexplained technology in Cambodia. The hardest part was convincing them without revealing the complete truth. Alex had to be careful. Too much information too quickly would make them think he had lost his mind. But gradually, as he shared his enhanced understanding of the energy patterns, they began to listen. "These sites are all connected," Alex explained during a video conference with his colleagues. "The energy signatures form a network that spans the entire planet." Dr. Chen frowned at her computer screen. "Alex, that would require technology far beyond anything ancient civilizations possessed." "What if they didn't build it?" Alex asked. "What if they were helped by someone else?" "You're talking about outside influence," Dr. Williams said. "That's a dangerous theory in our field." "Dangerous or not, it's the truth," Alex replied. "And if I'm right, then these sites are about to become active in ways we've never seen before." As if responding to his words, Alex felt a pulse through the network. The dimensional barriers were weakening faster than expected. He could sense the approaching threat like a storm on the horizon. "I need to go," Alex said abruptly, ending the call. Tom looked at him with concern as he began gathering his equipment. "Dr. Rodriguez, where are you going?" "To do what I came back to do," Alex replied. "Tom, I need you to document everything that happens here. Whatever you see, whatever. You record. Make sure it gets to the right people." "I don't understand." Alex placed his hand on Tom's shoulder, and for a moment, his assistant could feel just a fraction of what Alex was experiencing: the vast network of energy, the approaching darkness, the weight of responsibility that pressed down on him. "The world is about to change," Alex said softly, "and I'm going to be the one to change it." That night, Alex returned to the tunnel entrance. The Veltar were waiting for him, their faces grave with urgency. "The barriers are failing faster than we anticipated," Zephin announced. "We have detected the first breakthrough attempts. The Devourers are testing our defenses." Alex nodded, feeling the disturbances in the dimensional fabric. "And it's time." "Are you certain?" Irileth asked. "Once the transformation begins, There will be no going back. Alex looked up at the stars one last time with human eyes. Somewhere up there, other worlds were fighting for their survival. Other civilizations were making their own desperate choices. He thought about his team, his research, his dreams of making discoveries that would change history. "I'm ready," he said finally. The journey to the transformation chamber was different this time. Alex could feel the entire sanctuary responding to his presence, the technology recognizing him as its chosen operator. The Veltar moved with purpose, preparing for a ritual that would create something that had never existed before. The chamber itself was at the very heart of the sanctuary, a place where the planet's energy lines converged. Ancient machines that had been dormant for millennia were awakening, their displays showing readings that made even the Veltar elders step back in awe. "The process will be painful," Zephyr warned. "Your human form will be enhanced, but you will also be connected to every part of the network. You will feel the entire planet's energy flowing through you." "Will I still be me?" Alex asked. "You will be more than you," Lireleth replied. "Your consciousness will expand to encompass both human and Veltar understanding. Will become the bridge between worlds that we have needed for so long." Alex lay down on the crystalline platform at the center of the chamber. The moment he touched it, he could feel the network responding, energy flowing through him like liquid fire. The pain was intense, but beneath it, he felt something incredible: connection. His consciousness expanded beyond his physical form. He could sense every archaeological site on Earth, every hidden Veltar installation, every point in the global defense network. More than that, he could feel the approaching devourers, their hunger and rage pressing against the weakening barriers. But he also felt something else: hope. Through the network, he could sense other worlds, other civilizations that had survived the devourers' attacks. They were out there waiting for someone to coordinate a response. The transformation was complete. Alex opened his eyes, and the world looked different. He could see energy patterns flowing through everything, could feel the heartbeat of the planet itself. His body was still human, but enhanced, capable of interfacing with technology that spanned dimensions. "How do you feel?" Lireleth asked. Alex stood up, and as he did, displays throughout the chamber lit up. The global network was responding to his presence, ancient machines awakening after centuries of sleep. "I feel connected," Alex said, his voice carrying harmonics that hadn't been there before. "I can sense the entire network, and I can feel them coming." High above them, the first visible signs of the dimensional breakdown were appearing. Strange lights flickered in the night. Sky and sensitive instruments around the world began registering impossible readings. "Then it begins," Zephyr said solemnly.
Alex
Walked to the center of the chamber, where a control interface was materializing from the crystalline floor. As his hands touched the controls, the entire global network came online. Archaeological sites around the world began to glow with the same blue light that had first drawn him to this place. "I'm no longer just Alex Rodriguez," he said, his consciousness expanding to encompass the entire planetary defense system. "I'm the guardian of two worlds, the bridge between species, the coordinator of Earth's defense." Through the network, he could sense his former colleagues around the world, staring in amazement as ancient sites burst into activity. Tom was documenting everything, just as Alex had asked him to. The sky above began to tear, and through the rifts Alex could see the approaching devourers. They were vast and terrible, creatures of pure hunger that existed to consume entire realities. But Alex was ready. The network was ready. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, other worlds were preparing to join the fight. The transformation was complete. The boy who had dreamed of discovering ancient treasures had become something far greater.